Welcome everybody to Too Legit to Crit, a tabletop role-playing podcast hosted by two guys who are the pet rocks of the tabletop role-playing world.
Oh, that's depressingly accurate.
It is, and we're also two guys who bang our elbows on chairs.
Yeah, it wasn't on my chair, it was on the other desk, like my work desk, because I've got the work desk that goes this way. And it was like, I did a stretch just before we hit the record button, guys. And as I brought my elbow down, just smashed it into the desk.
It was
and
great.
It
was funny.
Strongly disagree.
Anyway, my name is John Santana.
I am still Justin. Hasn't changed.
Still Justin with one less elbow.
Yes, one less working elbow. It's fine. My rolling hand is still good. This is my non-rolling hand.
You're not going to roll any worse, so does it matter?
Hey, I've been rolling well recently.
You have, yes.
It's been
I'll give
weird.
you that. But how have you been keeping?
I've been good, man. I've been run off my feet with work and stuff recently. And yeah, other than that, things have been good. Got a new game starting soon. Which I'm looking forward to as a player, which would be nice. And I finished building my character for that today, he's really cool. I like him.
Cool.
So yeah, that's going to be fun. And yeah, just been talking to a friend of mine that I recently discovered is also into some tabletop role-playing games. And yeah, just getting that, that like burst of energy you get when you talk to somebody new in the hobby and you're like, new friend.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, I've been playing some games.
Yes,
Delta Green. We got to the end of the operation. They completed it. No one died. No one. There was only one temporary insanity. So that was quite good. And yeah, so now the gloves are off for the next one. You guys don't need to learn the system anymore. You guys know the system. Now to kill you.
I would disagree, but it seems like work takes me away every time we're Delta Greening at the minute, and it's pissing me off because I really want to play Delta Green.
So yeah, I've got a week away. I'm going away as of tomorrow, so hence why we're not streaming tonight.
We're doing it.
We are recording.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm going away for a few days, and I'm just disconnecting from work. I'm disconnecting from the podcast for a bit, from the social medias, and
switching off.
I'm going to be in a hot tub in a forest somewhere,
taking a well-deserved break.
Yeah, very well deserved.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I am taking a book with me, so. That's going to be my nighttime reading is going to be the next scenario.
Well, I just ordered 3 books. Not necessarily, they're not tabletop role-playing related. They are fantasy, but they came as a recommendation from the friend I just mentioned that, recently discovered that they're into the hobby as well. And they were like, have you read these books? I was like, no. And they're like, you need to. So I went on Amazon and they're on sale. So I was like, all right.
All right, what books are they?
It's I should have had this up and ready before I mentioned it. A professional would have done so.
But we are not professionals.
No.
We cannot stress that enough.
The First Law trilogy. Yeah,
Never
so I'm looking forward to it.
Fair enough.
They look really good. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into some reading again because I haven't really found anything to read that isn't like, an AP or a rule book in a very long time. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. And most of my reading is rule books and APs and operations, but I think because of Delta Green, I've started leaning into like cosmic horror. I'm currently reading the H.P. Lovecraft sort of mythos. And, not the best writer in the world, also a horrible person, but,
Some awesome cosmic entities. That was really hard for me to say for some reason.
It was. Also played some Pathfinder Society on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a good little scenario, to be fair. Normally a lot of the Society scenarios are quite samey. This one was a bit different.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
And was quite fun. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And today it's just been video editing all day.
Yes.
And packing.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So. Oh, and also I just did literally stopped the call about an hour ago with I was on a show with Eric from Crossing the Nerdverse.
I love how you went to say Critting the Nerdverse.
Critting the Nerdverse. It's like, yeah. To be honest, he's also on Critting the Nerdverse. I mean, he is. It's not an inaccurate statement. He's not most well known for that, but he's on it. So yeah, it's been a long ass day, and I cannot wait for tomorrow.
I bet, man. I bet. Yeah, nice. No, you deserve it. Enjoy your time off.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to be fabulous in Ultima while you're away, though. You are. I've already messaged the GM and just said, "Hey, this is what my character is going to be doing."
Are you carrying on with your project by any chance?
Yeah.
I need to know what that project is.
Well, maybe the next time I'm playing Fabula, you may find out.
Maybe you might have enough time to finish it, depending on how long we take to do whatever it is that we're going to be doing in your absence.
So yeah, that's going to be happening. So yeah,
that should be good, man.
Yes.
Right. So I had some ideas.
Talk to me. I like ideas.
I know you do. So, well, for a start, I've built a new character who I think is going to be very fun to play.
I'm listening.
Because he's a necromancer.
All right.
But he doesn't tell people he's a necromancer. Because obviously necromancers are normally seen as bad guys, right?
Yeah.
But he only really started studying necromancy because he was studying magic in general, and he realized that there was a big imbalance in between life and death. And he is now out adventuring because he's trying to find the source of that imbalance and bring the world back into balance.
Right.
So he's got to study the magic that is causing this imbalance in order to put an end to it, if you know what I mean. Know your enemy type thing. So that's kind of like his whole shtick. And he's a turtle, so he wears glasses and like he looks awesome. So I'm looking forward to playing him because I get to play a turtle and just be like Uguay, but with like necromancy magic.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it's the ampersand crap. Yeah.
It is. Yes.
Fair enough.
Obviously. But the whole, necromancers, and in most world settings, they are seen as bad guys by default. Brings me quite nicely onto something that I did want to talk to you about, and I've got a feeling you're going to have opinions on.
It's not like me to have opinions.
No, it's very unlike you. So I'll be shocked if you do have an opinion. But so we've talked a little bit about it loads of times on the show, but we've never really dived into it properly, and that's world building.
Okay.
Now, obviously, like I said, we have touched on it, we like to use this element or that element or anything like that. But like, we've never really talked about how we go about building out a city or a town or the world, or whether how we do that. Because like some people that I've spoken to about this, they'll build big and then scale down to the small. And then other people will build the other way. So like they'll start with, okay, this is the starting town. What's around the starting town? What's beyond that? What's beyond that type thing? So what is your approach if you're not using like predefined setting?
I think my approach is I define first and foremost the sort of rules of the world. All right. Is it a world? Is it high magic? Is it low magic? Are the gods present? Are they not? That is what my start is. That is the underlying sort of rules that will dictate everything in this world. So that's kind of my starting point. That is
okay.
And then that leads me on to a theme. So yeah, I mean, just you start by kind of going, all right, this is a world. It's post-apocalyptic. Right, cool. How far? All right. Maybe we can either do like the Numenera thing where it's millions of years in the future. So everything that happened before is just a remnant of the past. Or it could be Mad Max where it's,
last week.
yeah, maybe, a few years where everything's gone to shit and people are just trying to start finding that thing. That is going to dictate how your campaigns work. So I think it's hugely important to kind of go, right, these are the rules. This is the framework that we're using. It is a world. It is post-apocalyptic. But let's say, for argument's sake, and as an example, post-apocalyptic world. I don't know why I'm so stuck on that, but while I'm down that rabbit hole, we may as well. But it is, 20, 30 years in the future. People have learned how to survive. People have moved on. And it'll probably be kind of, cities have turned into sort of holds and forts and stuff like that. So it is very much like the shit has happened. It's still relatively new, but at the same time, people have found ways to survive. So that when you go to, everything, people distrust everything. It's very feudal, and that sort of thing. Yeah,
well, I like that.
So that's like the initial start, and then you kind of look into: is there magic? Yes, there is, but maybe I don't want like
too much of it.
Or divine magic. Let's just get rid of that. And once you've defined the rules, then you can start shaping the world and just kind of go, right, let's give it a name. Let's, maybe throw together some consonants if you're feeling that. But once that's done, once you've got the basic outline, then I go small.
Okay. So you like to get sort of your background built, and then you bring in the little detail of, okay, let's zoom in now to this little corner where we find our heroes type thing.
Once I
like that approach.
Once I've got the kind of rules and how everything on a grand scale is going to work, then I can zoom in. And because it doesn't matter where you are in the world, those rules are always going to apply.
Constant. I like that. I really like that. Because then I suppose it also then leads you to questions like, if it is a low magic environment, right? How is magic treated? So if it is a case of there is still magic around, but it's very, very rare, is it treated with like reverence, or is it treated with fear? Is it treated like, are they, do they like chase them out of town? Like, what do they do with magic users in this world and stuff like that? It takes you down all of that rabbit hole, doesn't it? Yeah,
and that's something that you can apply differently to each
town,
small part. Maybe one town they revere magic. Maybe one town it's like it's as close to divinity as they're ever going to get. Whereas in another town it's like, no, this isn't divine.
They blame it for everything. Yeah,
this is a curse. This is why we are in this situation. So magic is outlawed. And you can just play around with those things.
How about
I really
you? Like that.
What are your thoughts?
See, I tend to go. I mean, you know me. I like to plan as much as I can. You've seen my notes. It looks more like I'm writing an AP than a homebrew campaign. So
far too much work for me.
But that's the thing, right? I'll plan the story down to the detail. Everything else I leave up to whatever I'm feeling in the moment.
Yeah.
So my world building is very much I will build out the towns and the cities and the the surrounding areas and stuff like that. And then all of those elements that you just mentioned, I'll kind of figure out on the fly. Now things like whether it's going to be low magic or whatever, I will kind of give thought to beforehand, because obviously I need to let players know that in session 0. Because the last thing you want is it to be a low magic setting and like you've got 6 players at the table and all of them playing magic users. Because it's like, cool, you are all going to be exiled at every opportunity. But if they know that beforehand, then obviously some of them might not want to do that, and it brings in elements to the characters and stuff like that as well. So yeah, stuff like that I will think about beforehand. But a lot of the more grand things, like is that particular deity still around or whatever, I'll tend to leave those sorts of things to kind of be decided during the game. Because there's always that one element that I really like of, especially if it's like using the setting that you were just saying about, right? If we go down that post-apocalyptic, like shit went sideways on a cosmic scale. Maybe some deities are still around and some aren't, right? And I'll figure that out again as I'm going. But like, it could be that the cleric of Saran Wrap, right? Just to pick on some, pick on the cleric we normally do.
So
maybe
deity, anyway.
Maybe in the cosmic sidewaysing is what I'm going to call the event from now on. That particular deity is no more, right? So they find that they pray to them in the mornings and there is no response where they used to be, and things like that. And it's just as much a surprise to me as it is to them.
Yeah.
So some stuff like that I like to leave to kind of figure out as we're going through the story and figure it out with them. But one thing that I do really like that I plan to incorporate into my games in the future is some of the world building stuff that we've kind of been introduced to with Fabula.
You've been introduced to. I've already played systems like that.
All right.
There's lots of weird crap.
To with Fabula.
No, but it is cool, and we are seeing a lot more systems doing that. Now it's they're kind of becoming more and more collaborative, and I think it's great because it gives players a sense of ownership, and it automatically cements things in people's memories. If you're creating something and you are going, okay, so you've got this city of whatchamacallits, and then down the road you've got the village of New Hampshire or whatever, and then getting players to kind of not necessarily remember that, but to have it at a quick sort of, they don't feel as involved. Whereas with us,
I mean, I know all of the stuff on the Saiyan homeland in our Fabula game because, well, I've made it up, right? Yeah. It's my little bubble of the world because I'm the only character from there. And I really like that thing, that sort of stuff, because like you say, you get like an instant connection to those story elements and those world elements that you can then put into the character. Because like if your character is from a particular town and you're the only character from that particular town, then it makes sense for you to be the one to flesh out that town in this world because your character is from there. They have all of the knowledge of, what's the baker like? Is he a dick? Is he a nice guy? Does he like give food to the dogs or, all that kind of stuff? The character who's from there is going to know that. And if you're telling them, oh, by the way, the baker in your hometown was a bit of a dick, they were like, why? Like, okay.
I mean,
it's just, I was just saying, it's harder to get that connection going, I
mean, I've done it like to a certain degree, probably not to the level of, okay, design a town. But, when we're in a town in my game, it's like, okay, give me the name of this tavern. What's it called? Who's the owner? What's he like? And they'll just, and it's kind of like an improv plot prompt. Where they kind of go, okay, so, he's a dwarf and he's a bit of a knob, and that's right up my alley. And
let's go.
What do you mean, a bartender who's a cock? Let's do this.
It's like, I don't even have to get into character.
I don't even have to get into character. I woke up in character. Thank you very much. And that's it, So it is a really good asset to have, and it's good to fall back on. If you decide not to do that, which is still perfectly valid, I like to think of my sort of world building or setting building as almost like a bullseye. Like your typical archery bullseye where the concentric rings in the center. So the bullseye is the players. That is what is on the players. So everything that is immediately around them, you flesh out.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they are in a village, you flesh out that village. The second circle is the things that aren't immediately around them, but
just outside the walls, or
could be at a stone's throw. So they're the things you need to have a loose idea on. So you need to go, okay, so the next village along is this. And, the next village along, it's a mining town. If you go in the other direction, you go into a port city. And then you don't worry about it. Because there's always the possibility that they kind of go, yeah, I'm not interested, and go somewhere else. But at least you've got that to kind of fall back on in case they go, I want to travel to this place. They go, okay, so it's a port town. And it is, you just create the basic bare bones, what the town is, a couple of names you want to throw about, or just have an NPC list. Then you get the next concentric thing, and they're the things that you just have a vague idea on. Further afield, you've got the wastelands, or you've got this, you've got that. You will have time to flesh them out when that bullseye moves.
Yeah, exactly that, right? You've got travel times and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when the players move, that bullseye moves with them. So everything that was in the concentric circle closest to them now isn't. So now you've got time to kind of go, okay, so these things are in this periphery now. These are the things I need to look into. And the further out you go, the less of an idea you've got.
You need,
really. Yeah, because especially if you're talking fantasy, they're not, unless they've got teleportation, which you as a GM can always say, no, it doesn't exist. And that's it. There's no question about it. But they still need to know where they're teleporting to.
Yeah.
So they can't. They wouldn't be able to teleport to a random place. They have to teleport to somewhere that they know. In which case, you just flesh out that particular thing.
Yeah. But I like that. I think that's a good way of doing it. And I think as well, like part of that world building is sort of the surrounding story that you've got as well. So like rumors they might hear and stuff like that. And it part of that as well is something that I saw a video on, and I'm absolutely using this the next time I run a game, is before the session 0, get each of the players to send you a number of secrets equal to the number of players at the table. So if you've got 4 players, they each write out 4, not secrets, 4 like rumors about their character. Okay. They can be true, they can be false, they can be completely false. They can have like an element of truth, but like they've been exaggerated and all this sort of thing. And then before session 1, you dish like those rumors out to other players. So they've heard this about player 1, and it kind of gives them, their character has again, built their character into that world a little bit more, because there's rumors about them that may have been heard. These other players have heard a rumor about Dave the Barbarian, right? But they don't know if it's true. They don't know if it's like false. Like they could be reading something that's like, oh yeah, he killed like 18 dragons barehanded. And they're probably sitting there going, that's fucking bullshit. But it creates like story elements within the group that tie them to the world as well. Because then it's like, it gives them points to then play off of, be like, oh yeah, I heard this crazy story. There's no way it's true. and then they can kind of bounce off of that as well, which is quite a cool little way to build the players into the world as well.
No, I like that. I think that's quite a good concept. I'd probably use that. That's something I would adapt.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, yeah, that's cool.
No, it's good because it also, it also helps flesh out the characters.
Yeah.
Without them having to do the 3-page backstory, which no GM ever reads.
Nope. No
GM ever does.
I can tell you right now that if you give me a 3-page backstory, I'm going to go, that's nice.
And then
that's it. That's the end of it.
And then, then at some point they'll reference it in game. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake! And you start looking through Obsidian. Where the fuck did I put that? Fucking.
You're like, scroll. Well, I'm on touchscreen, so I'm like, scroll.
Yeah, the good old backstory.
But yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing as well. Like, that's kind of how I write my backstories. Is I will just write like bullet points of like, yeah, this happened. This might have happened. This would be a cool story point. This is an important person from my life. Like a bit like a lot of the other games that I've started playing where you've got like bonds and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm including like that kind of stuff into my backstory now, where it's like, oh yeah, like my brother was in this town and he was a blacksmith or something. So maybe I can talk to him at some point if I need some blacksmithing-y shit and just stuff like that.
No, I mean, it is, giving the players that agency is important.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
Of course, yeah.
Because, certain players, you give them an inch, they're going to try and take a mile.
Yeah.
It's like, in my backstory, could I have been a level 20? No, fuck off. Shut up.
It's like, yes, and then you got amnesia and now you forgot everything.
And then you died. Create a new character and stop asking stupid fucking questions.
Then you had a heart attack. Moving on.
But yeah, I think world building is I start out big, but I don't spend too long.
Yeah.
In that, I don't spend too long. I'll start out as the basic concept of the world, and then we zoom in.
Zoom right in. Yeah. No, I like that. I might have to give that a try next time. Because I've always kind of gone the other way of starting small and then, like you say, building those concentric circles. But I've never really done too many game settings where I've gone like really low magic or the days have been completely wiped out, or I haven't really tried any of those, and I kind of want to. I think it could be quite fun.
I mean, to the point where one of the games or one of the future games I'm going to run is going to be based on that. And I sacked off Pathfinder for it. I've gone with another system.
Yeah.
Because the system is perfect for that rather than, hacking Pathfinder to fit into my system like so many. Yeah.
I'd probably be the first to say it. 5e players do that a lot.
I know they do, and they're annoying.
We do.
They need to stop it.
I agree.
No. We want a modern Cthulhu game where you play as agents. Fuck off, just play Delta Green.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm creating a setting, and it is loosely based, or should I say, the other way around. It's kind of based on what I submitted to Tales of the Valiant. What I submitted to Tales of the Valiant was the seed which this has now grown into.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, I really want to try running something like that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think what could be quite fun, just on a different kind of scale, is and I think it might be because I rewatched Constantine recently. Is like playing as adventurers while there's like a deity civil war going on.
Yeah.
And having like that ripple out into like our plane of existence could be quite fun.
No, I mean, anything like that. Once you start getting the pantheons and the different planes of existence involved, your constraints as a games master are gone.
Yeah.
do what. I mean, that's a lot of my games have had this happen because I like the freedom of going, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. You know,
I'm going to do this, but the rules say I don't care.
No, the rules say, I want my players to all of a sudden be on a pirate ship and have to actually be pirates.
I'm on a boat.
Yeah, you all of a sudden have got a peg leg. You don't know why. Who gives a shit? It's happening. And you just kind of, and they become the most fun sessions.
I just really love the concept though of like a paladin or a cleric or something trying to like channel their deity, but because of the big civil war going on, the deity's too busy to respond. So like they go to cast this like awesome spell, nothing happens.
I mean that would work.
Busy.
That would work in some systems better than others because 5e players will bitch if you do that.
I think that comes down to the players at the table, right? If you go into
but the rulebook says I can cast this. So shut up.
But yeah, the rulebook also says that you can't have all those magic items, but you've got them. I think that comes down to the players at your table, though, doesn't it? I mean, you can have players like that in any system. Let's be honest.
I think the system, in a lot of cases, especially in the case of like 5e and Pathfinder, the system dictates the player behavior.
Especially to a degree,
when the players have access to all the rules, that is when it becomes but the rule book says, like, don't care.
Yeah, but again, I think, like you say, though, it's because they've got access to all the rules. So I think with a lot of these other systems, as they get played more, that'll start to happen with them, right? I think a lot of that is because, and it's something we've spoken about before. I think a lot of that comes from there's so many people that know the rules so well that you start getting rules lawyers, right? And until they get to know the rules of a different system, they can't rules lawyer those systems.
To a certain degree, because let's take Blades in the Dark, for example. Blades in the Dark, there's nothing specific. You've got your skills, and they give you suggestions as to what those skills could be used for, but there's intentional overlap. So there isn't, the rulebook says I can use finesse. No, it's a case of, can I use finesse? And it becomes more of it's not that on page whatever it says I can do this. It becomes it becomes a lot more. I won't necessarily say GM prerogative. I'll say it becomes more of an agreement at the table. Whereas in Pathfinder, in 5e, you've got all people and players will conveniently quote rules when it benefits them, but then want you to apply rule of cool.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never done that.
Mr. I break characters.
Hey, I never play my broken characters. I break them for the shits and giggles. I never play them.
Yeah, so... But anyway, we went massively off topic.
We did, but then again, I suppose world building is such a big topic, right? All of these elements do kind of feed into it, because they all kind of go to, okay, well, how does that interact in this world?
And I think finding the system that fits that world, is
a big
the best thing. It's like when I'm doing my future homebrew that we will release as an AP.
Can't wait.
I'm going on Forged in the Dark because especially because the initial idea I've got is perfect for it. So rather than wasting my time getting Pathfinder or D&D or whatever, and I want to change this and I want to change that. No, I'm going to get a system that fits, that works, that that feels comfortable to use it in. And I've had a look at the different settings that I'm going to be doing in this world, and it's a case of there's a Forged in Dark for that. There's a Forged in Dark for that. There's one for that as well. Done. Problem solved.
Problem solved. Yeah.
And the future like home game that I'm going to run, where I've essentially sacked off Pathfinders because there is a cipher system called Gods of the Fallen, which deals with deities not existing, and the players are the up and coming seeds of the new pantheon.
Oh, I like that.
It's like perfect. I want to use that. Right, rather than just brutalize one system to fit into whatever idea I've got. I've got something that works perfectly. But yeah, that does look interesting.
Yeah. That does sound good.
Have I told you that plan? Have I told you that what I wanted to do?
No, you didn't tell me that bit. You told me the other bits.
All right, so during like the homebrew that I'm running, there was a turning point. There was a point where the party started out with MacGuffin. They were in a city. Bad guys attack city to recover MacGuffin, and players had to run away. There was a point where the paladin had MacGuffin and went, I'm tempted to just throw it at them and leave. And I went, okay, is that what you're doing? And he decided not to. And we've enjoyed our campaign and all this. But I've always had in mind of what would the world be like? What would have happened if the bad guys got what they needed?
If he had just thrown it and ran.
Yeah. So my idea is when we finish this campaign, which should only be a few more sessions now, we go back to that point. And instead of keeping MacGuffin,
he threw it.
Oh, MacGuffin.
Yeah.
And what would happen? And what would happen was the world would end very quickly. So I'm thinking, picking up 5-10 years later, what are their characters doing? What have their characters done? Because the world is non-existent. They have released an evil which has, as far as they know, obliterated the entire pantheon. There are no more gods. There's no more divine magic. And this system, Gods of the Fallen, starts on that premise that there are no more gods. However, there are shards of divine power that have rained down upon the world, and people have absorbed that power. So as they level up, they become more and more godlike.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just fits so
I like that.
Well.
That's really cool. Also, like that whole mechanic though of going back to like a critical decision. I really like that because it kind of plays into that like film trope or that it's more TV shows actually that do it, where like they get to one of those decisions in a TV show, and then like it plays out one way, and then it cuts back to that decision, and then they decide the other, and then you get to see what happens. Like anyway, like TV shows do that, and it's a really, really cool like story mechanic there. I never thought of doing it for a whole campaign though, because that's going to be so fun.
Yeah, and it gives players the ability to not lose their characters.
Yeah,
but to refocus their characters, because at that point in the campaign there were 2 clerics and a paladin. It's like, what do you do now? Your gods don't respond. You are no longer a cleric. What do you do? 10 years have passed. What's happened? What have you done in those 10 years? And they would essentially keep the same heritage and keep the same basics, but the rest of it, they would have to adapt and just kind of go, all right, rather than being a cleric, I'm now a rogue, or I'm now something like that.
Yeah.
And, it's not only that, but all the personal toil that they've had to go through in this 10-year gap. Yeah.
No, I really like that, man. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's that's how my brain works sometimes.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be really cool. I think that's going to be really, really cool.
And it does have the advantage that obviously we will be playing in Galarian, but it won't be Galarian anymore.
Yeah.
The land masses will be the same, but where this city will now be just an empty shell with a fortress in the middle.
And also, I mean, the rules of the world have changed as well because of the event, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I like that. That's a really, really cool concept.
Yeah, and the Gods of the Fallen system just works so well for it. And it's Cypher. Cypher's just fun.
No, I really like that. I might have to steal something along those lines at some point. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, when I start, you're welcome to join.
I think we might run into scheduling issues.
Well, like I say, it's not going to be happening in the immediate future.
Yeah, but yeah. No, that it sounds really good, man. I look forward to hearing more about it. I really do. It's gonna be awesome. But I think we should take a little look at the notice board. That was really hard to say for some reason.
I thought you were pausing for dramatic effects. I thought there was.
I wasn't. No,
we should.
My mouth just stopped working.
And I kind of went, yeah, dramatic effects getting a bit too dramatic for me, to be honest.
No, my mouth just stopped working, is what happened there. Yeah, we should take a look at the notice board.
We should, but first and foremost, before we do,
we need to do a thing.
I would like to just give a quick shout out to our partners. First of all, I want everybody to check out Deals of Opportunity. It's an automatic, simple, and free way to save on the tabletop role-playing games you want. Just add your drive-through RPG and your Dungeon Masters Guild wish list, and you get notified anytime a title on your list goes on sale. You just set it up and save. Got one through yesterday or the day before. Cities Without Number is now $19. It's like, ooh. Tell you what, some of the best cyberpunk games mastering advice. So I need to pick it up.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. Also, want to give a big shout out to 13th Moon Games. It's a family-run indie game company out of Wyoming, USA. They created the tabletop role-playing game that Justin and I are huge fans of, Covenant Crucible. It's a game of modern-day witchcraft. If you imagine John Wick movies and The Last Witch Hunter getting together and having a really pretty baby, that's what this system would be. If you want to learn more, check them out on Instagram at 13th Moon Games, or at their Patreon, 13th Moon Games. They do run a weekly Patreon game where you can learn the system. It is phenomenal. We've played. It's got the right amount of crunch.
Yeah.
The right amount of role play.
Yeah.
It is so hugely fun. So yeah, check it out, guys.
So much fun. Yeah.
So back to the notice board.
Yes. Now, before we do the notice board, there's one other thing we have to do.
I'm intrigued.
We'll roll dice.
We do have to roll dice. I'm going to bring on the multi. Okay.
I'm not. Oh, you're on that one? Okay. I'm sticking with the black and white.
Really? I like to change it up.
It's been working well for me.
Well, to be honest, I did some practice rolls with this one earlier and it was shit. So, let's roll for initiative, shall we?
Let's do it.
Same exact fucking roll. What did you get?
Wait, what did you roll?
I rolled a 3. So you won it. You've won again. Yeah,
what is going on?
I do believe this is weighted because I've rolled about 7 3s on this dice. And now I rolled a 13 just to prove me wrong. Fucker. All right, but yeah, you win.
That's brilliant. Right. So I won. I did a win.
You did a win.
So the first one that I was going to chat about today is something that I think is really cool because it's something I've always struggled to find, but love it when I find. And that's background music for a session.
Okay.
Now, I know you're a big fan of background music for a session.
I am, yes.
So we got a submission from Nerdius Maximus. Amazing name.
I love the name.
With a link to their YouTube channel. And on their YouTube channel, which is Nerdius Maximus Studios, they have playlists, or 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 with like different settings and background music that's like appropriate to that setting. So they've got like Becoming Warriors, which is great for like that session 0 when you're building characters and stuff like that. It's got that right level of like a build and a feel. You've got like a dungeon crawl song. So these are all like a half hour, like they're all about like half hour to 40 minutes, these songs. And obviously with YouTube, you can just stick it on loop and it will just, play in the background. Yeah. There's no like big swooshy intro that you're going to get halfway through, which happens sometimes on some of these like YouTube channels that do this kind of thing. And the quality is really good. So I'm just going to play a little bit of it. Just obviously you're not going to be able to hear it, John, but everyone else will, just so they can kind of get a listen, because it is really, really good stuff. So this is the Becoming Warriors track, which is that one that's going to be a really good sort of background for creating characters. So yeah, it's just got like a really, really cool like ambiance to it. And the production quality is really, really good on it. And some of the stuff that you've got on here, you've got like Dungeon Crawl, Through the Wood, Corrupted Forest, Caves. Like you've got the taverns, which is always a great one. You've got battle music, battlefield ambiance, blacksmith like shop. Like there's just loads of them, like loads and loads and loads of them. It goes all the way. There's just on this place, there's 37 different tracks, and all of them have different like settings and stuff that they'll work in. It's just really, really cool.
They do seem to have a Patreon where you can get even more shit.
Yes, I was about to bring that up.
Sorry.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. But yes, there is a Patreon as well, which if you head on over to it, you can die violently, apparently. Where there's like monthly themed releases as well, which is really, really cool. So it's one of those things that is always going to be usable no matter, like, regardless of system, right? Because that kind of music is going to fit pretty much anywhere. I think there's even on that playlist that I mentioned, there's even things like Zombie Apocalypse and what were some of the other ones that I thought you might like. Desert Combat is always a good one. Zombie Apocalypse, that was one I did see. So there's going to be something there that you can use in almost any situation. And yeah, like I said, monthly releases of new stuff as well, which is awesome. So definitely Nerdius Maximus Studios, go check them out. Awesome stuff.
That's fantastic. Really, really cool. I will be checking them out. I will definitely be having a look to see what sort of stuff they've got. Okay, so I want to talk about a podcast for a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to you about Game Master Monday. It was submitted to us by Grant Nordine at Games Master Monday on Threads. So what they do is going to sound quite familiar because we're doing, or at least trying to do something similar, but they're going a bit more hardcore at it than us. So they play.
Wait. So you're saying that somebody else is doing something much better than us?
It's weird, isn't it?
Huh.
It's like never ever happens.
No, never.
So Game Master Monday, they play a new one shot in a new system with a new cast every episode. Just the logistics of that is fucking mind-boggling.
That's awesome, but also insane at the same time.
Yeah. And I started listening to a bit of it today. There was an episode where they were doing Neon Shadows, which is something that we've covered quite recently.
Yes.
So they were playing that, and Grant, I do believe, he's the presenter and the producer of the show. he went, "Oh, I normally GM, but today it's a GM-less." It's like, so not only do you play a new system, you GM a new system every week. It's like, fuck, man, that's just a lot of work. But yeah, it's, it sounds really good. I mean, I listen to like bits, clips here and there. Very funny, bit more mature themed, like kind of like us. So there are some swears, which,
not gonna lie, I thought you were gonna say a bit more mature, and I was like, what isn't?
Considering we're two overgrown children, that's not anything's more mature than us.
I know. My 4-year-old's more mature than us.
She is. She really is. She's my best buddy.
She is.
But yeah, so it is really cool, and the sound quality is fantastic. And they do seem to, and for a group that is rotating and changing, it is really interesting to see how quickly they've kind of they find cohesion, and how quickly their sort of chemistry kind of boils to the surface. It is really, really cool. So definitely check them out anywhere where you get your podcasts. Game Master Monday.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds really, really cool. I mean, speaking of new stuff for running your game, my other thing that I wanted to talk about on the notice board today. So I brought back the really lame segue. We haven't done one in a while.
We haven't. Yeah, that is true. We haven't done a segue for a while. We need to.
We've got a much more defined structure now, so we don't do them as often.
I think we need to, though, and I don't think we don't bounce around as much as we did.
Yeah, because again, we've got that set structure we do now. So I want to talk about Critfailpress. Now, I was sold because they've got crit in the name, and so do we, for a start. But then I actually had a look at what they do. So they create a lot of supplements and stuff for the ampersand. So not something you're going to be too thrilled about. But they're really, really cool stuff. And you'd actually probably be able to use a lot of it in Pathfinder and stuff like that as well. So they've got things like they do a doors and keys supplement, which is essentially portals and the keys to open those portals. So it's a supplement with 100 unique portals and how to like open them and stuff like that. Now, obviously, they've built it for Planescape, Adventures of the Multiverse, which is part of the new like space books that we got in 5e. So they've built it for that, but realistically, a portal can go from anywhere to anywhere, right? So, and they say as much in the description of these. So they've got like a doors and keys one. They've got a trinkets supplement as well. So the trinkets of Kryn. So again, this is built for the Dragonlance campaign, but again, there's nothing to stop you taking these trinkets and putting them in other campaigns and other settings and other worlds. So again, really, really cool thing. And then the one that I'm actually very, very tempted to pick up because it's only like $3 at the minute. It's on the GM's Day sale through to the 10th of March. So you've got a week left to pick this up for it's like $3.19. It's a Dungeons of Saltmarsh, Depths of the Dwarven Mine. So it's a short adventure for 4 to 5 characters for about level 5. And it's basically going through a dwarven mine and the adventures that you're going to have going through that. So you've got a complete map and layout of the mine, the village in the mine, because the dwarven mine has its own village inside the mine. And it's broken up into 5 distinct levels. So you can literally, if you wanted to as well, instead of running it as a little mini adventure, you could just take each of those levels, be like, cool, this is a dungeon, and plug it into your homebrew campaign and everything like that. Like, it's designed that way. So it's a really, really cool book. So I'm definitely going to be picking that up and checking it out. But the stuff that they've got on here is really, really cool. And if you are playing any of the space adventures that we've got in the new Spelljammer books, they've got a vessel log, which is like another supplement that's entirely designed around monitoring and maintaining the ships and vessels in the space setting. So just to make that life a bit easier when you're like doing that in the games. So really, really cool stuff, and definitely worth checking out. So critfail.press, and go and check out their stuff.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at their DMs guild now. They've got some good stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in the doors and keys.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, I mean, just having a look at that, the artwork is fantastic.
Yeah,
that's some really nice artwork on that. Let's have a quick preview. But yeah, it definitely looks interesting. So yeah, nice. So I have got something else to talk about.
Yes.
This is Anthony from Ready Comic Roll has sent us in a rules light modern horror tabletop role playing game that is a love letter to the genre. It's got its own setting and lore, and it also provides kind of all the tools that you may need to create a terrifying tale of their own. Cool. You pick and choose what mechanics to use, and even recreate horror movies, comics, video games, and other mediums or horror subgenres.
So this sounds a bit like Fabula for horror.
It does a bit, doesn't it? It does a bit. It sounds a bit like that. It is coming soon to Kickstarter. But yeah, it's a relatively simple system. Geared ideally towards those that are kind of new to tabletop role playing games or looking for something like quick and easy to sort of get into. But yeah, you got a person obviously is charged with obviously in the game, so there is a games master of sort, but they're known as the Fate Weaver.
I like that.
The Fate Weaver is quite good.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just they're running a horror game, and yeah, it looks really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's a bit you. Let's be honest.
Of course it is. So the one that they're that's coming soon to Kickstarter is going to be the rules light version. But they're also doing a more complex, in-depth system. And I think the only difference is one will be actually called What Horrors Lie in Wait Light and What Horrors Lie in Wait. But the one that we need to keep an eye on immediately is the one that's coming soon to Kickstarter. And it is What Horrors Lie in Wait Rules Light Edition. And yeah, I think that may be a crit list item.
I think so. I mean, especially with the people we know, that's a very, very popular genre for us.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I post anything on threads about horror, all of a sudden I start getting people kind of peering up like meerkats.
Yeah, you get all the little meerkats. Horror.
Did you say horror? I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, it looks awesome, man. And yeah, definitely, I'd be up for a little horror film recreation.
What horror film would you recreate?
I don't know. That's the thing. There's so many good ones.
There's so many shit ones as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but the shit ones are often the best ones.
The shit ones are often the best ones.
I really don't know.
Okay, let's rather than specific movies, let's go sort of subgenres of horror. Would you go for the zombie sort of?
I wouldn't. I
would do zombie. I mean, I would, but I'd honestly, I'd be inclined to use. It wasn't Stoneburner, was it? It was the other one where it's based off. You know, and they had that.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, they had that mechanic where your dice decreases every time you roll.
Yeah.
That I'd go for zombies. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it does.
But I'm thinking I don't want to just lean on the eldritch horror. I don't want to kind of lean on that.
I would probably go for a slasher film.
Ooh, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, go with the age old classic, kids out at a log cabin by the lake.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just have one threat and it'd just be relentless. An unstoppable threat.
Yeah. I think that'd be a really cool game to play.
That would be quite interesting.
Because like there's also this video game, I don't know if you've seen it, called Dead by Daylight.
I've heard of it. I've never really been interested.
It's basically you have 4 survivors get dropped into a thing and they've got to try and get away from one, like essentially one evil thing hunting them, which is also controlled by another player. And all of the killers in the game are based on some form of horror slasher type thing. So you've got like, you've got like they've even got like some of them actually like named properly. So you've got like Michael Myers and stuff like that, right? Yeah. You've also got like there's one called the Hillbilly who's like goes around with a chainsaw and stuff like that. But like something like that could be really cool, and it's a similar sort of thing where you've got that you know, that single relentless threat that you can't do anything about. But what they're trying to do is power on these generators so that they can escape. So it gives them like, this is an end goal to get you out of here. Some of you may die in the process. Nice. So I think it just kind of adds a bit of a goal for the survivors other than just survive.
Yeah.
Which could be quite cool. So yeah, I'd probably do something like that.
That sounds interesting. I think of something, you know, because I don't want to pick the same as you, but because it is a fucking good idea, though.
Oh, another idea. Just
go on,
off the back of my head. What about like a Swamp Thing type story?
Yeah, I mean that could work. I was really thinking something more along the lines similar to yours, but it'd be more like Jeepers Creepers.
Oh yeah,
you know, where it'd be it appears like a slasher movie, but then it's really not.
Scooby-Doo, but it's actually a real evil thing. It's not a guy in a mask.
We could all play Scooby-Doo characters,
right?
We could all like, you know, we could kind of. I've got an idea. So how about every time we do a Crit List episode and we just happen to have you, Couch, Chris, and me, we all create new versions of those same characters, because a Scooby-Doo version of Nahash, Tyke, Boomy, and whatever your character, I forgot your character's name, sorry. Quinn, sorry.
Quinn, yeah.
That would be fucking hilarious.
Oh my god! Wait, who would be who though? In that situation.
So Scooby-Doo. I think Nash would be Shaggy.
See,
I think because I
get where you're coming from with it, but at the same time,
because he's a fucking idiot.
Yes, but he's not an idiot. Like he's deliberately an idiot, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas Shaggy's just an idiot.
I don't know. I think there may be some reasons as to why he's. There
is, however, this is the argument I'm going to make. Shaggy's best friend is the animal.
I did think that, but I don't think Boomy would.
He wouldn't suit. Yeah, he wouldn't suit Shaggy. I mean,
Fred is Tyke.
Oh yeah, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt.
Like with the ascot and everything, because he's a douche.
It's made of saran wrap.
Because he's a douche. Exactly, saran wrap douche.
Yeah, that would be fun. Like, I think that would be a really, really fun thing to play as well. Just like Mystery Inc. rock up to like a haunted house, and it's actually a fucking genuine haunted house. It's not like
they did that on
fake.
Supernatural.
They did, yeah. I still haven't seen that episode yet.
I need to. It's quite good. It's quite enjoyable. It's like, oh, these people are really dead. It's like, yep.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's a photo that like pops up all the time on social medias where it's like the Mystery Inc. fan, the Ghostbusters Ecto-1, and then the Impala from Supernatural. Yeah. I was like, oh, this place haunted.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll definitely have to see if we can get some of that.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be a lot of fun, I think.
But yeah, thank you to everyone who sends in submissions. Don't stop doing it. Give us let us see what you're working on. Let us see what you create, and we want to see it. And we want to, see people who are far more talented than us.
Which is everyone.
Which is everyone, really.
Yeah, it's not hard. But shall we?
We shall. We
to the lounge.
Take a look. I like that. You're gonna have to do that every episode now.
Oh man,
I'm just gonna keep quiet for you to do that because
Well, we are only rolling a D2 today, so we could probably just flip a coin.
I was gonna go odds or evens on a D20.
Fair enough. All right. Well, odds, couch, evens, Chris.
Evens it is on a 16.
Cool. Oh, let's see. Chris has got one topic for us.
Okay, so which is kind of fitting, to be honest.
It is actually. That's actually kind of fun.
All right. So, what characters from either movie or TV have you seen and felt that you had to make into an NPC? I've got one off the bat.
Okay, you go first because I need a chance to think.
All right. And I have actually created this. All right. So, after Skulls and Shackles, when that campaign kind of split and I took Couch and Chris in one direction, flying on a ship across the different planes of existence and all this, they ended up in the realm of darkness. All right. The Shadow Realm is called in Pathfinder. And in the Shadow Realm, they met vampires.
You went to the Shadow Realm, did you?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a Yu-Gi-Oh joke.
Dude, I've never seen Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, you should. It's funny. But anyway, carry on.
But anyway, so they went to this place, the Shadow Plane, and they met a group. And I did a bit of a mystery thing where the villains were initially looked like the villains were the vampires, but it turns out the vampires weren't, and all this.
Oh,
and
I like that.
One vampire in there that I directly pulled from a thing. And I'm going to describe this. Nope. No. All right. So I'm going to describe this character and I'm going to test your knowledge of vampire movies here.
Oh God.
Okay. So the class he was a skald. All right. So it is a bard.
Right.
But like mixed with barbarian.
A barbarian.
Right? So basically, like big, strong, can hit like a fucking sledgehammer, but also plays music. And he was playing a wind instrument. All right. And he was walking around a lot of the time with no top on. Can you name that character? He hasn't even got a name.
No.
Have you ever seen The Lost Boys?
No.
Dude, I'm gonna have to show you on YouTube.
Yeah.
In The Lost Boys, there's one scene, all right, they're at a festival, and there's this dude on a stage built like a brick shithouse playing a saxophone. And I just went, I need to make him an NPC. It's like the most fucking 80s thing ever. And the beauty of it is the dude is an actual musician.
Yeah. So it's actually him.
It's actually him. It's
that's
not
so
just,
much better. Yeah, that's so much better.
I need to send you a picture. I feel like I need to introduce you to this. And I'm trying to remember the guy's name because
that did give me an idea though.
You'll be able to Google it. You go on with your idea. I'm going to Google this.
Well, I was going to say, I think going off of what you just said, I think it could be quite cool to have like the players completely overwhelmed by vampires and then have like Blade come in and save them.
Yeah, fair enough.
As an NPC, like Blade just shows up, kills them all, and then looks at them like fucking waste of time. You know, like he does in Blade 3, Blade Trinity, when he meets like Ryan Reynolds and all the other hunters. He's like, you guys are fucking amateurs. Stay out of my fucking way. He essentially does that to the party and then just leaves.
Yeah, I mean, that could work. And I think we've started down a rabbit hole here, but I mean, I was just saying, and this idea is nowhere near mine. This idea was a TV show that they wanted to do, but I don't think it ever came to fruition. But what I would do is I would actually do the Lost Boys from the movie The Lost Boys, and in the TV show, and it sounded like an amazing fucking concept because obviously vampires are immortal. Each series would be set in a different time period with the same characters. So, cool. You know, you'd have like Victorian era where you've got them as young sort of Victorian teenagers, as it were. And then obviously you move on and it's, I don't know, maybe it's another period in time. Maybe it's like the early 20s. And again, like they're the same there.
Yeah. That's
so,
cool.
the Lost Boys, that kind of sent me down that rabbit hole. As far as characters, come on, we need to think of more.
We do.
We do need to think of more. I'm stepping away from vampires. I'm not. Yeah.
Well, I'm stepping away, but in that same kind of space. The Winchesters could be fun to build as like, you know, another adventuring party that like maybe gets to some jobs before the party do, right? If you know, like how, like we always say, right? The world keeps spinning.
Yeah.
So if there's like maybe a job post on the notice board in the town of like, oh yeah, there's a goblin infestation just outside of town, but they dick around for too long, the Winchesters got it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So something like that could be cool.
All right, so bouncing off that 100%, and I've probably done it far too many times to count already. Crowley. Yeah. No. Who do you think I was trying to Krampus in creating the Nerdverse? Who do you think I based?
I got that. That I did catch. Still can't believe I missed. Well, I mean, actually, there you go. That whole campaign was based on film and TV characters.
Yeah, the most recent one wasn't, but the first two.
No, the first. Yeah,
it was so leaned on. But yeah, I mean, there's so many good characters. But I think we're missing a really. I'm just trying to think. We must be missing like a really good fucking character. Just someone that you just see and just kind of go, how awesome would he be as an NPC?
Phil from Hercules.
Remind me.
The goat man that trained Hercules.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Just Danny DeVito. Just Danny DeVito as a character would be fucking amazing.
That would be Did
you see the story that Arnold Schwarzenegger told about the time where he was smoking cigars with Danny DeVito, and Danny said to him, you always provide the cigars. I got some cigars. This time we're smoking my cigars. So they smoked them, and then they went to go and film the next scene, and Arnold forgot all of his lines. Completely went out of his head. Turns out what Danny DeVito had done is scooped out some of the tobacco and stuffed it with weed. And he's just got Arnold high because he only smoked the first part of the cigar.
I mean, when they added him to It's Always Sunny, that show just went from good to fucking incredible.
I mean, he's just an amazing actor. He's so good.
But before you mentioned Danny DeVito, I had one in mind. Right, I've got one. I've been watching Foundation on Apple TV, and it has in it for me what is one of the greatest villains ever. And I think having this guy. So basically, the whole concept for this villain is it is a genetic dynasty. So they are clones. They're all clones of each other. There's there's three active at the same time. There's dawn, day, and dusk. Dawn obviously is the child.
Yeah.
Day is the adult, and dusk is the elderly.
Old, yeah.
And obviously, when one dies, another one is activated. So it's essentially the same person. And a lot of the mythos about it is, are they the same person? Their clones have been raised the same. They've had the same influences, but are they really the same person? However, Brother Day, who is the adult one, he performs a couple of acts during the course of the series, which are horrifying as a villain, and it's sociopathic, and it like immediately grabbed me. I mean, there's one where there is quite a drastic terror attempt on his homeland, and he suspects it is another planet, like the next door planet, let's say.
Yeah.
So when diplomats from that planet come to visit him and to try and say, yeah, hey, it wasn't us, sort of thing. First of all, he captures them. Standard.
Yep.
He parades them in front of his populace. He kills all of their servants by hanging them. And then he gets an armada of his ships to surround the planet of these diplomats and nuke the ever-loving fuck out of it. And then turns around to the diplomats and goes, you can go now. So, yeah. Imagine that as your big bad.
Yeah, that's insane. I love it.
Yeah. So imagine that as your
Team Rocket, complete opposite end of the spectrum. Bad guys that are just completely inept, right? You've got Jesse and James, and they're just complete. And every time they try and fuck with the party, it just never works. They're just a constant annoyance.
Yeah, I don't know. The only problem with that is you can't trust the players to just not go murder hobo and kill them. You need to find a get out of jail free card for them every single time.
Yeah, they're blasting off again.
But I think you may have cinched that. So thanks to Chris for sending in that topic. That was a really good one. Thank you to everybody who's sent anything in, whether it's topics, whether it's things for us to check out. Let me just. But yeah, so we can't thank you enough. Just carry on sending us stuff in. Carry on giving us a reason to kind of come back here week after week and talk about things. Also, I want a big thank you to our partners. Thanks for all your support. It is huge. Once again, check out Deals of Opportunity and 13th Moon Games. Thank you to you, Justin, for spending some time with me tonight.
Shucks.
Did you want to tell people whereabouts on the webs they can find you?
Of course. So I can be found most places at Justin Accurate TV. And you can also find me in the Discord, and I'm generally lurking on the Facebook page somewhere.
As for me, you can find me at naturaljuan at dice.camp along at Mastodon. You can find me behind most of the social medias at Too Legit to Crit on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, even on the Facebook. I make appearances there as well. Blue Sky, we're pretty much everywhere at this point. If you do like what you see, what you hear, don't hesitate to give us a subscribe. Send us in a comment. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow, because we are, we're thrilled to be part of this community. We want to kind of grow with it, and we want to help support more indie creators. But most importantly, thanks to everyone who's taken time out of their busy day to listen to two idiots waffle on about tabletop role-playing games. Thank you very much, and good night.